Hello and welcome to this video. My name's David Dawn. In this SwiftUI video, we're going to specifically look at handling all of the errors that we receive when making a URL session using Combine and Data Task Publisher. So we're going to go through how when the URL is incorrect, or we get a different status code as well, and when we've got a decoding error as well, like a bad property within inside of a codable, and we're also going to catch any other errors that could occur as well. With that said, let's just jump straight in to create this project from scratch, so you can see exactly from the start up how we created this and how we dealt with this as we went along and so on. So let's get started. Okay, so now we go. We've now got a complete resetted iOS application, and I've left in a text hello world and also then the JSON placeholder post request that we are going to make, or the URL for the post request that we're going to make. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to quickly create this codable post that we need, and we're going to use identifiable. This is going to be for the likes of the list, and then hashable is for then the destination, and so on for the routing for the navigation stack. So let's just start by giving it an ID, and it has then a title of string, a body of string, and we're going to have a bad property of string 2. All right, and this bad property is obviously not in it. This is going to be our first error. Okay, so once we've done that, we can come to navigation stack here, and now we can create a list, and within inside of the list we can have an item, and up here we want then the states to store all of our items that we receive, and we're just going to say item, and that's going to be post, and they're initially going to have nothing in it, so we can say items here. And now we are happy. Now we can just do a navigation link, and the value is then going to be item, and then the view is just going to be a text once again, nice and simple with the title, because we're not really too bothered about the navigation in this one video. We're it's more about the handling the errors instead. So, but let's just, for the sake of making it consistent, let's just say here post title, and when we come on here and we refresh this, we don't have anything right now. We should have a blank screen, which we do. So now we come down the bottom, and we're just going to say task, and this is where we're going to start doing the actual URL session request. So let's come here, and we'll just say URL session.shared, and then we're going to say data task for URL, and we'll make a URL down here and just say URL and string, and then it's just say URL string up here, shall we instead? Make it a little bit easier. And this is where the task starts, because essentially we could check that this this string is correct, but we're going to assume that our URL is correct. All right, so we don't have to do it from there. Next, let's just put this all on its own line. Next, what we want to do is we're going to have a cancelable in here as well to store all of the cancelables, and so we just say cancelable, and this is going to be a set of then any cancelable, and we will just initialize that, and we can come here and we want to say receive on, because we want to receive this on the main thread when we get it, and because these aren't lots of data, we can use the run loop instead. And now we can say sync, and we want to be able to handle errors, right? But we can do this, and we have to we will receive the error within inside of this one completion sync call, and the actual values will come with inside of the receive value. So we can come here and we can say self.items equal to item, and we need to import Combine as well to be able to use any cancelable. And what's going wrong with this is to post. Okay, so now that we've done that, we need to be able to decode the data. So once we've got the data task, the one thing that we can do is decode decode the data, right? But we first need to be able to map the data. So let's just map it in the traditional sense using data. And next we want to be able to decode it. So we'll decode then an array of posts with then JSON decoder. And now we can say store in and then cancelables here. And we know that it'll pretty much be working now if we refresh this. Okay, and as you can obviously tell, because it's not working, somewhere in this we haven't got the data, all right? And obviously this because we put a bad property in this. So let's come to finish, and this is going to say down the bottom it's finished successfully here. And when we come down to the actual failure, we can say error here. And let's just print error out instead. And we run this once again and we come to previews. And you'll see here that we've got a bad property here. And this is what we put in it. So let's just uncomment this and run this again. And we should see everything working fine. All right, so this is the first error that we encountered. So let's now just try and get the second error to come. We can see here that we've got it couldn't decode anything either. So let's just get rid of that error and run it again and see what we get. Okay, it came back with a completely different path or results, which we don't really need to undo. And now you can see there's a proper, it could not find the host here because it is completely wrong. All right. And when we run it again, we get the normal stuff. So we can see here how we can handle the errors with inside of this. But this error is still just a normal error. And what we want to be able to do is to save this information to, say, like a publisher here, like this, and say any publisher, and we want to say that it's going to be of post, and then the error in the beginning we could say like this. And to be able to do that, we're going to remove this code first of all, and we're going to have to say then erase to any publisher, right? And this builds perfectly fine, and we can come down the bottom and uncomment this, no problem, and say publisher, and we'll get everything running. Whoops, meant to do I there. And everything should run just perfectly well once again, all right? But right now we're just saying error, and we're not really handling the error at all. Okay, we want to actually be able to handle this error correctly. So which errors could possibly come? Well, this map we don't really need to care about because it's just a part of it. This is either going to be there or not there, but we want to be able to catch the errors, and we can do this by saying try map first of all. And this is where the first, let's say, result is coming here. And we want to be able to check the status code first of all, because that might be the wrong status code. So we're going to have to say here HTTP response is equal to result, and that's going to be response as HTTP URL request here. And if this is not, right, then we know that it's going to be a bad error, right? And at the moment we're just saying an error, but we don't want to use this error. We want to create our own error, and we're going to say network error here, and we're going to have a couple of errors. So we're going to say bad request first of all, right? And this one here is going to be a bad request. So we're going to have to say, we're going to have to throw here. We don't want to return. That's the whole point of this try map, is it allows us to throw an error, and we'll just say bad request. But now that we're doing this, we need to come and say, hey, you're going to be a network error instead. So the next thing is we want to say here, switch HTTP response, and we're going to say status code, right? And in the event that it is a not 220, in a 200, we're going to return result.data. Okay, that's what we're happy about returning. And so if it's between 500 and say, so 499 and 500 and 599, then we are going to throw a server error here, and we'll just say server error here instead, and we'll say throw network error server error instead. And then default here, we'll just throw a bad request as well. All right, so now that we've handled these network errors here and we've done it correctly, we need to now think about this decoding part of it, because the decoding can still be an error too, and it's not part of the network because we now have the data come to us. We now need to handle errors for the likes of these bad properties. So when we come to this, we don't need to do try map anymore. We want to map the actual error, all right, to the error. We can write this a bit better. We want to map the actual error to how it is, okay? And so we're just going to say here, if decoding error equals error as, and we'll just do optional, and we're going to say decoding error. Then we'll return network error, and then we're going to say decoding error. And we're just going to place this decoding error in there, and we'll add this to the list as well. Let's say decoding, and we could just say it like that rather than saying decoding error here. Now we can say if we've got a network error, so let's just say a network error here, then we can return network error. We're happy with that, and otherwise we are going to return a network error unexpected instead, unexpected here, because we just don't know what the error is right now, so we can handle it elsewhere, and we'll just say unexpected, and the error can come here, and this is then a decoding error there as well. Okay, so now happy days, we've now got the errors handled, and you can see now that there's no errors here. We're compiling perfectly well, because this one publisher fulfills all of this information, and we've come and handled all of the errors. So wherever this goes now, we know we've mapped all of the networking error, we've mapped all the decoding error, and the only thing we've got to do is stick it on the main run loop and so on, erase all of the other rubbish that comes with it. It's like about 25 character long, 100 character long, or whatever, type annotation, and now we can now just call it, or we can pass this publisher to someone else and they can call it at a later state. And now we've handled this this error here, and we know now that on all successful cases of this, we get these items. So this is purely 100% successful, and we know this is the only place where there is going to be an error. So when we run this code, we now get it working perfectly fine, right? And when we add, for example, a bad URL instead, and to be able to test a bad URL, we can use this mock HTTP status one, and we can say 501 and just uncomment this, and we run it again, and we'll see a server error there. And when we run this and uncomment that and uncomment that and run it again, we should see that we get a decoding error, which we do. Bad property is there as well, so that's really good. And then when we run the URL once again, we should see another error message as well. Bad request. See, so this time now we understand how to deal. We understand how to deal with the different errors, and this can all be mapped with inside of your service or repository or a view model, wherever you want to put it, and so on. You can convert all of the different errors to how you want that error to be. And this can naturally be, if you have an application that has lots of endpoints and is all talking to an API, the request or the responses that you get to your requests, if they're all handled by the same server, and that server fulfills all of the errors in the same way, in the same manner, with like a JSON packet and so on, then you can use this code here for everything basically, as long as you just use the generics here to replace this with a T or whatever it is that you want to use as the placeholder. So with that said, I hope that you've got something out of this now. because this is, I said in previous videos that we basically then just did assert no failure, which basically means that it's never going to go there, all right, because this error would then just be never instead. So you're telling it, hey, you this response, this request and response is perfect, and there's never going to be an error. So you can say assert no failure, and if it does get a failure, then that's the whole point of asserting it. It should crash the app. But it's obviously better to handle the errors as precisely as you can, with as many enum cases as you can, to give your front end the most information of what actually happened, and you can log it in any way and so on, rather than just having an error. It is not very good. It's better to check the different styles of errors like this here, and then return the errors and map the errors into the correct form. Okay, so with that said, I hope that you've got something out this one video. I hope this now, with the last 3 or 4 videos, gives you this better understanding now how you can cope with the network errors. There's still a couple final things to talk about with regards to the data task publisher, how we've done this and how we can best use it. But there's for other videos to come. With that said, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and do all of the other social media things that you can do to this one video. If you do have any questions, feedback, or concerns, like always, feel free to start a conversation in the comment section down below. I will try and answer every single question, either textually, or if I can't do that, I'll put it in another video for you to watch instead. Remember, I do this for you. The whole point of this is that you can learn and pass your knowledge on in the future to other people. And so by sharing the video, liking and commenting is helping, possibly implicitly, someone else to find this video and help them without knowing you helped anyway. And it also puts a smile on my face. Thank you very much for watching. My name's David Thorne, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao, and goodbye.